And I think that is the kind of change that an adaptation can and should make, where it kind of achieves the same thing in spirit, but then does it in much less time or in a much more economical way. And it seems like this movie sometimes gets that right, but on balance, it doesn't. At least that's how book fans talk about it.
I think you mentioned one interesting part in terms of where time was a little bit wasted, and I felt like the entire kind of like first act, everything up until him being arrested and thrown into the pit. I think it's fine, you can kind of keep that, but I'm of agreement that the entire time that they're in the pit and they're sort of kind of like plotting to escape, I feel like the movie spends too much time there, and the only thing of significance that really is sort of kind of taken out of there is this treasure or this fortune that he's sort of set to find, to obviously allow him to have the means to go and sort of exact his revenge. But there isn't anything sort of profound in that particular sort of part. I've briefly recall him mentioning about when he has the money, it allows him to sort of kind of leave his name behind and be a completely different person. But I don't know what the lesson kind of was behind that, whether it wasn't really laid clear, and I feel like they really could have tightened that part of the movie up so that we could spend a little bit more time on the other side once he's sort of reestablished himself, and spend a little bit more time on him, just kind of stalking his prey, essentially stalking the sort of three men that he was looking to exact revenge on, because it's evidently shown that he's, over a number of years, he's accumulated a lot of like knowledge and a lot of information. I feel like one of the reveals, I think it was like Heidi's one, because she kind of like appears in the movie, and I would be like, okay, so what's her deal? But then they eventually explain it at the end. But that essentially showed that he was doing a lot of like stalking and researching and understanding as to like the people that he was dealing with before going ahead with his plan. I feel like we could have spent a little bit more time on that aspect of it, as well as like him sort of setting up and laying out his plan.
Yeah, like for the thing in the prison, like the really important part is that gives him a reason for revenge or wanting to seek revenge. Yeah. And it gives him, like, it puts him into contact with this Italian guy who knows where the treasure is. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of it. Like, nothing else really happens while he's in prison, right? But we spend, 10 minutes there? maybe more?
It felt like a really long time.
Yeah, and I think you do need to convey this whole hopelessness and like this despair, and how he's resigned to his fate before he meets, is it Abe? Like the Italian guy. But like we don't even get like a 10-second montage where he actually learns all these things, right? He's just told, I'm going to teach you all this stuff, like science and philosophy and math and languages. And we just skip all of it. I'm not saying we should have spent a lot of time on it, but just like a few seconds showing this actually happening. And it just felt weird. Like it felt like something was cut. And that by itself is not a huge deal. But it's more like a little bit disorienting, where I thought, like, shouldn't that be there? I think it just makes a whole bunch of these choices throughout the movie that are not quite optimal.